I believe that anyone can make a positive difference in the world, great and small. I see it every day. And you don't have to be a celebrity or billionaire to do it. All you really need is the desire to use your unique gifts, talents, and passions, and then to simply begin. Hi, I'm Linda Mackey, and welcome to The Eloquent Entrepreneur, a place where I have conversations with everyday changemakers just like you. Join us and hear inspiring stories, hard-won wisdom, and discover practical tools to help you accelerate your impact. So whatever you're doing right now, listen in and prepare to be inspired. Today we're talking to Dr. Kim Foster. She is an MD turned mentor for health and wellness entrepreneurs. So welcome, Kim. Thank you so much for joining me today. I know it's been a long time coming to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Linda. Yes, we've been meaning to do this for a while. So I'm so excited that we finally managed to make it work, and here we are. So really happy to be here.
Thank you so much. And I'm just so excited to share your story because you are, well, first of all, you're an amazing client of mine. We've been working together since 2019. And like many people, you found me on Google and we hit it off right away, I remember. And I've just been watching you grow your business in such a methodical way. And you're just so inspiring. And I mean, I've said this to you many times. I think you can be a business coach to anyone. But I know your area of expertise obviously is in the health and wellness industry. And so I'm excited to share your story, where you came from, how you started, and just how you can inspire others to really, do what they love and make a difference as well. So let's just get started. Can you share a little bit about your business and what you're doing and,
Yeah, I would love to. I'd be happy to. Okay. So, so like you said, I'm an MD turned coach. So I'm a physician, family doctor by training. I practiced medicine, family medicine for many, many years. But I obviously, have transitioned into the world of coaching in a few different iterations, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But yeah, I mean, I started to make that transition after a lot of years experiencing all the frustrations and the limitations of the healthcare system, right? And I imagine that I don't really even need to go into elaborate detail for your viewers and listeners. Yeah, I mean, we all are familiar with this. We've all experienced it, right? And there's a lot of things, sadly, that are broken about our healthcare system, really regardless of wherever you are. And so I was unhappy, professionally, personally, in the way that my work was, impacting my life. And because I had a young family and, so my priorities had shifted also. And I needed personally more freedom, more flexibility. I needed something that was different. And I also knew that I wanted to show up and help people in the world in a way that I was not able to as a doctor. I really started to feel this calling to help people in a much more holistic way, a more preventive way, rather than the way that our healthcare system is set up as a, diagnose, prescribe, send people away kind of model. And it's very unsatisfying. It became increasingly unsatisfying for me. So I was really searching for a better way for myself and a better way just to make an impact in the world and to help people in a different way than I had been, that I was expected to be and was trained to be as a conventional medicine practicing doctor. So, so that was kind of what started me off on this new trajectory. And really, when I discovered the world of coaching, the world of health and wellness coaching, everything shifted for me. This hadn't been a thing in the world when I first, when I was in med school, when I was a young, newbie in my 20s, coaching was just not on the horizon. It just wasn't a thing. But when I discovered it, I was like, okay, this is exactly what I have been looking for. This could possibly give me everything that I have been hoping for personally and professionally. So that set me off on that journey. And then, lots and lots of iterations and of evolution, as you kind of alluded to, ever since then. But so what I'm doing now is, after moving into health and wellness coaching and becoming a health and wellness coach and helping people like showing up in this different way, I then really saw that I became kind of ingrained into this whole world of health and wellness coaches, and saw that there were a lot of people who came from all different kinds of backgrounds. Like, you don't have to come from a conventional healthcare background in order to be a health and wellness coach, but they were really struggling to make a go of it in their business.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, if I could actually help those people to build a business that's successful like mine, then they're going to impact all these other people. My impact becomes greater. And I kind of have like this, there's just a trickle down effect, right? So like if I can help the helpers, then everything gets better, right? More and more people get what they need in the world. So that's what started to really light a fire under me. And that's why I started to move even more kind of like upstream, right, into the business mentorship, which is really what I do now, is mentoring, coaching, and training health and wellness coaches to go out there in the world and like really spread this wellness revolution that I feel that we're in right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I love what you said when we first met, because I asked you what makes you stand out from your competition. And you said that you have, well, that you're a doctor for one thing. So that's huge. And then you also had, 20 years of experience inside the health and wellness industry. And then that, many of the people that were, business coaches are, doing this as well. They just didn't have that experience. So that's where you kind of had the edge, right? That they just weren't at that same level. So plus you're a certified business coach, which makes you even more qualified. So that's pretty exciting. It seems like, an obvious evolution for you.
Yeah. And it came about like very sort of organically and naturally, like just kind of continuing to find newer and more multiplied and more leveraged ways of helping the world rather than, and I guess that this is it's not that I wasn't doing an important job when I was a family doctor. And I did, of course, have to wrestle with a lot of the guilt of like leaving the medical profession when everybody knows there's like a shortage of family doctors and people have a hard time, so I did have to wrestle with that. And that was a big job actually for me, inner work wise. But my impact there, I felt this right actually for a long time, is that I was really just making a difference, just one person at a time in a 10 to 15 minute time slot, just helping them maybe with just one little thing. And it's not that that's not valid. It is valid. It's just that I felt called to make a bigger difference and to help people more than just like this one-on-one in my little cubicle, basically in my little examining room. And I really wanted to, because I knew that there was a bigger and better way that I could help people with their, achieving the ultimate goal of like improved health and wellness, of course. So, yeah. So that's why, of course, like you just said, I brought together all of the tools and experiences, like, even though I'm not practicing conventional clinical medicine, that in like all of those years of doing that informs everything that I do now, because I spent a lot of time, like it's a very intimate thing when you are, working with people in this one-to-one way. I learned a lot about what people need and want and are hoping for and are terrified of. And, it's just a really deep education in the human condition to be playing that role in society. And so I like to think that I bring all of that into this newer evolution of how I can show up and help people in the world. So, yeah.
Your academy for
yes.
So that's amazing. I watched you from the beginning. I think you were just doing one-on-one coaching, like you said, and just over the last couple of years, I think you just started about a year ago, I guess, the academy, and that is just growing crazily. Resources that you provide. You're just so, like I said, I think you could be a business coach for anybody. But I'm sure that you probably had, just like you said, when you were doing the one-on-one, they probably asked you a lot more than maybe you were anticipating. So it kind of created this kind of like obvious, well, I need to incorporate this into school, because there's just so much information, I would imagine, and learning.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, you're right. That was a big motivation for creating like the Wellness Coach Academy, which is training health and wellness coaches right from the beginning. Right. So initially I was like in my mentorship role, I was working with coaches who already had done their training and they already were certified coaches in whatever field it was that they were doing. And I was helping them with the business side of things, which was amazing. And I love it. And of course I still do that. But I also really felt that there was a gap in how a lot of coaches are being trained from the beginning. And because I had to go back and help people with like, a lot of the other skills, like coaching skills and helping people to make lifestyle changes. And I just thought, and I'd had this as an idea for a very long time to create an academy, like a training and certification academy for wellness coaches right from the beginning, like I said, of your journey. And also, I really knew it was really not a question in my mind. I was going to make it a program that you could go into without any kind of a healthcare background. Because I know that there are some coach training programs, especially health coaching training programs, that you have to have like a degree in some kind of healthcare field or have worked in healthcare for a while or something. And I understand they're playing a specific role in the world, which is fine. They're kind of teaching existing healthcare practitioners this new skill of coaching. But for me, because I know that there are so many people who are really, love the concept of wellness. They are really embroiled in that whole world, just absolutely love it and would love to make a career out of it. But maybe that isn't the career choice that they made for themselves, like way back when we all make our career choices, right? Like I decided when I was 17 that I was going to go into medicine, but I could have decided that I was going to go into architecture. That was another thing that I was thinking, and if I had chosen that path, and then later on in life, in midlife, if I'd been like, actually, I really want to help out in the health and wellness world, but what am I going to do? Go back to med school? No, unlikely. So I wanted to really set up a program that would also help people who really feel that calling to help people with their health and wellness, but they don't necessarily come from a healthcare background, because again, like it's all kind of fueling my mission of getting more people out there to help more people to improve their health and well-being, because we've got a long way to go with this project.
Like what would that look like with somebody? Like what would be an example of somebody who maybe doesn't have who didn't get a certification or whatever in any health and wellness?
I have so many examples. Yeah, I mean, in my training program right now, I've just actually certified a couple of people who were strangely two separate women who were in real estate. They went into a real estate career, like that was what they had been doing. One was in LA and one was in Boston. Anyway, so just women who had been their career trajectory, like after they finished college. And actually one didn't actually finish college, because you don't need to, of course, like that's not required. But they personally, health and wellness had been really important to them. One, because she had watched her mother suffer with breast cancer and unfortunately pass away at quite a young age. And that really triggered in her that she wanted to get out there and help prevent that in as many people as possible. So she had this really deep personal calling, but she didn't have any background at all in healthcare. She was a realtor, so she joined my program, was so thrilled to find that there was actually a vehicle to pursue this passion that she had that wasn't going to mean going back to school for like 4 years to get a new degree or, whatever, like that you can actually do it and you can show up and make a difference in the world. And it doesn't have to mean, hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt and, putting your whole life on hold for several years. Yeah.
That's very cool. So how is she helped? Like, what is she doing like in her business, or has it been
Well,
launched?
she's just got certified, like just
Okay.
actually a couple of weeks ago. So she's in the business building stage. So this is, once you become trained in a new career, like once you're on a new path, right? Of course, you've got to get the knowledge and the skills that you need in order to do this work. But from there, that's not enough if you are an entrepreneur. And of course, I know that we're talking on the eloquent entrepreneur. So I know we're talking about that. If you are building a business, there's a lot of work. It's not just a matter of taking your skills, hanging up a shingle and saying, hi, I'm open for business. There's quite a bit of business building that
to do.
there is a lot of work to do, and it can feel very overwhelming. So, I mean, that's why in my training program, I created pillar 3 of the 3 pillars is business training. So I really give all my students a ton of tools to help them with all of the structures, assuming that you've never set up a business before. And some people have, but many people haven't. So I just assume that you haven't set up a business before. And so that's what she's working on now, is really setting up all those business structures, her website and a way to accept payments and what her packages are, what her pricing is, all of what her marketing message is and her brand and all of those kinds of things. So she's working on that, but I have no doubt, because she's got that why, like that is what I always look for with, prospective students and clients it's because it's a big job to create a business out of thin air, basically, right? Like just out of your mind. But what will see you through is if you've got a really deep why, a really strong thing that is motivating you. And it's got to be more than just money. We all love to make money. Money is amazing, but it's got to be more than that, because it's got to see you through those, like when you hit an obstacle, when you hit a disappointment, a setback, all of that stuff is true in business. It's just the way that it is. But if you've got a strong why, it's going to keep you going through those rough patches.
You got to wake up feeling excited about your work. I mean, I would die if I didn't love what I do. So
yes, exactly.
And did you have a mentor yourself at one point?
A lot of mentors. Yeah. Well, okay, it's not like a crowd of people, but there were a few key people. I didn't in the beginning, I wasn't really, it took me a little time to find some mentors that I really resonated with, because I was a bit stubborn and I was like, I can do this myself. I can just sort this out myself. But I really, I realized that I was kind of floundering and I wasn't really sure what I was doing, especially when it came to business building, right? Because business and marketing, it's not something that they teach us in med school. Like we just don't learn that stuff. So I had no, training or anything like that. And so I realized that I was having a bit of a struggle getting things underway with my business. And I was like, the thing that I'm missing is actual, like proper mentorship, role modeling, that kind of thing. So then I went on a bit of a journey to find some mentors, and it did require a lot of investment, like a lot of financial investment, a lot of time and energy spent in absorbing like that. And you got to go through that stage, right? Like when you are absorbing and learning and up leveling your skills, your mindset, all of that kind of stuff, right? It's so important. Otherwise you're just going to struggle.
Yeah, there's so much stuff. I mean, I know as in my own business, I've got several, I guess, mentors, like there's people I've learned from over the years. I mean, it's a lot of like business stuff, photography stuff, personal stuff, that really shape who we are and make us do our job so much better. Like I'm such a better photographer now just because of I know it's from all the work that I've done, and it is a huge time commitment. But once you and you never stop. I mean, we always keep learning, and we always find new mentors to take us to the next level. So
exactly.
This is really amazing work. And I mean, I know we've talked about, because I'm working with photographers now, mentoring them.
Oh, amazing.
Or not even just photographers, like just, I call them highly sensitive creatives. I know we talked about this. So that's what I was asking about. Like, I mean, you don't have to have a medical background. So that to me is amazing, because I think we all can make a difference. And in the area of health and wellness is not just to do with our bodies, it's to do with our minds and sense of fulfillment and happiness, and just helping people in areas that may be not medically related,
Yes.
So that's really
absolutely.
inspiring. And for your program, I think it's pretty amazing that you're offering that. And, people are, going on. Can you tell us a couple of success stories maybe from, I know you've got the one lady who's just launching your business now. Tell us one or two.
Sure. I mean, I've had lots of amazing success stories. So I have had certainly many clients who have come from healthcare in like a more traditional profession like me, right? Like, so because there's lots of us, I call us healthcare refugees, people who like were in the healthcare system and really found it lacking personally and professionally and all of that, and wanted to find a different way. And coaching does provide that answer for so many people. So let me think. I've got a lot to think of. Okay, one client, she was in LA, Mayuko. She was was a registered dietitian. She was functioning as a registered dietitian in the hospital, which mostly means providing, like, creating meal plans for the sickest of people, like who are, post-op, post-surgical, and just finding it incredibly unfulfilling. Like, just really was not. Of course, it's a necessary thing that has to happen, but she just had reached a point where she was like, I want to show up in a totally different way. What she really wanted to do was help women adopt an intuitive eating approach. I don't know if you've heard of intuitive eating, like that particular philosophy.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's more like, it's kind of like it's anti-diet in every way. It's not about a regimented, like, calorie counting and macros and your fat grams and all of that kind of stuff, which is what she had been trained to do as a registered dietitian. But
Right.
what she really wanted to do was help women to just tap into their own intuition about what their body needs, and to fuel their body, and to focus on health and not to focus on like calorie counting and things like that. And so that's intuitive eating. She didn't invent the concept of intuitive eating. It's definitely a movement that's out there, but she
Yeah.
really wanted to help. So I helped her to create an intuitive eating program, like a coaching program, helped her get her first few clients. Then once that was going well, she had some private clients. And actually, because she was in LA, she got a couple of celebrity clients, which was really amazing.
Yeah.
And really helped to kind of take her to the next level. But then she launched a group program. So we scaled her up, because that's what we talked a little bit about evolution, right? You go from, typically when you're an entrepreneur, often you go from doing the one-on-one work, which is so important, but then you kind of scale up into a one-to-many model. And she created a group program. She was launching that. She was filling it. And really, she was able to walk away from her hospital job, walk away from all of the stuff that was making her unhappy. And her income was just going through the roof, helping women in this way that she was so personally rewarding for her. And a bucket list goal for her had always been to move to Japan. Her family originally was from Japan.
Yeah.
And she just had this calling to move to the countryside, like to rural Japan, basically.
Yeah.
And the only way she could do it is if she had a successful, thriving online business where she wasn't dependent on her, local region. So even though she started off,
Yeah.
with like some local, like, celebrity clients and things, not all celebrities, but and so even though she really wanted to build an online business, and so that's what we created, and she was able to do it. And last year, it's like just over a year ago, she moved to rural Japan, and now she runs this beautiful, soulful, intuitive eating business, working with people, running groups from rural Japan, so it's like she's achieved everything that she wanted to achieve. So I love Mayuko's story. It makes me super happy.
That's awesome. So that was, I guess, the next question. I mean, that to me would be something that would just keep you inspired to keep doing what you do. I mean,
Yes.
Is that like the main thing, or do you have, like, are there other reasons or ways or how do you stay inspired in addition to your client success stories? I mean,
Well, that's the biggest thing.
What's
Yeah.
that?
that's the biggest thing, is like being inspired by my own client's success, because I also know, because she also shares, my clients I'm always asking them to share me with like your success story, like tell me about what's going on, because I stay in good touch with people. And, they also share their success. So when I know that she has been able to impact women who have been struggling with a dysfunctional relationship with food for so long, and then they are thrilled with the work that, that they were able to find her, which makes me feel great, because I helped Mayuko to put together that whole business. Right. So, and I have tons of other stories like that, but, and so that is really what keeps me motivated, because I just feel like I'm making a way bigger difference than I was when I was just prescribing like antibiotics for strep throat and pain relievers for back injuries. I know that stuff needs to happen, but I personally just needed to be just showing up differently in the world.
Yeah.
And so that's what drives me, that like reward and that meaning. But the other thing that inspires me and that helps me to just know that I'm on the right path, and that makes me happy with what the choices that I've made, is that personally, my own personal life looks totally different than it did when I was working inside the box in a clinic as a doctor, right? So because I work from home. I get to I walk my kids to school every day. And then I go for a run afterward. Like I just sort of take the scenic route home. I walk them with my running shoes on, and then go for a run by the ocean, because here we are living in beautiful Victoria.
Yeah.
My schedule is my own. I don't have to, I get to make the call on, because I had to ask permission to take time off for, any kind of holidays. And during cold and flu season, which also includes the holidays, those requests often are denied, when you're working at a clinic or, medical practice. So, I had to miss Christmas concerts that my kids were in, like just terrible things, right? Just awful things that I hate. And because to me, freedom is a really core, like it's basically my number one core value for myself is freedom. And I didn't have it before, and I definitely have it now. And that just makes me just wake up every day with a smile on my face, as obnoxious and as ridiculous as that sounds, but it is totally true. So, yeah.
Well, and it allows you to do your work and really make an impact. I mean, when you're limited by all those restrictions, I mean, how can you can only do so much, but now it's like the sky's the limit, and that can only be like super inspiring and exciting. So if you were to give some advice to other people, fellow entrepreneurs, or even just like maybe a stay-at-home mom, I mean, what kind of advice would you give them for people who do want to make a difference and have more fulfilling and more freedom and abundance in their life?
My biggest piece of advice is don't wait. Because I have really witnessed this a lot, and I definitely experienced it myself too. I hesitated and waited, and I wasn't sure, and I was a little bit afraid, and all of those kinds of things. But not to get too morbid, but we don't have unlimited time, right? And if there is something that you want to do, if there's a change that you want to make in the world, for yourself, for your family, any of that kind of thing, start right now. You don't have to have it all like figured out. Definitely don't wait for the perfect time, because that does not exist. But just get started. Even one small little step moving forward is better than just sitting there waiting for, divine inspiration or the perfect time or the stars to align. It's just never going to happen. So you have to let it be messy and just get started a little bit, because it takes some time to really get to the vision that you've got in your mind. Like Linda, you said the thing about in the beginning, when we first started, when I first, reached out to you and we were working, my business was not what it is now, but I had the vision of what I wanted it to be. And then I had to work, steadily towards making that vision be a reality. And that just takes time and effort.
Yeah.
And so for people out there, I say, if you've got a vision of what you would like, You got to start right now. Stop waiting for the perfect time.
Exactly.
Just get moving. Even one baby step in the right direction is better than just standing still.
That's one of the things I'm so inspired about you, because you're such a good example of that. Is like, like I said, when you first started, but you had this vision and then you just took steps, in such a methodical and systematic way. And sure, you may not have known how to do everything, but you just took the steps. But you each step you took just took you further, and that's really the key, I think. And I know, like, I'm one of those people who kind of, sometimes waits too long because I want things to be perfect. But
yeah,
and once, like, since I started doing that, like just taking little steps, like even with, like, I'm mentoring my assistant right now, and it's happening because I took that little step, and I'm actually making an impact with her. Whereas I thought I had to have the whole program, lined up and all this other stuff. And I think it would be good to have that, but at least I'm doing it now, and I'm just kind of doing it slowly, right? So, and the pieces will all come together, and but I think it is important to, when you know what you want to do, like, take your program, like that's going to accelerate things. Like, I know there's a lot of things that I could be doing that will accelerate this for me as well, right?
Yeah.
So, but that's that's something I really admire, and I'm inspired by you, because you've just really, gone for it with your business, and it's amazing what you've created.
Thank you so much, Linda. I appreciate this. This is a nice little conversation to have you, like, pump me up.
Well, I don't know. This is like part of my why too. I love seeing my clients really, really blossom in their businesses. And we'll talk about your photography in a minute, but I just wanted to find out. So, like, in 5 years from now, I mean, do you have, like, what are your bigger dreams and aspirations? Or are you there, or do you have other visions for your life and business? And impact?
I mean, it's a combo of, I'm so grateful for what I've achieved so far, and also, like, just the way that things have evolved so far. And also I've got dreams for, what's coming next, for sure. And I think that I always will, right? It's not that and it's a combo, like, you got to be grateful for what you've got, and also, it's an and thing, and also reaching for what's coming next. But yeah, I mean, of course, like, so my Wellness Coach Academy, my training program, that's my baby. I absolutely love it. I'm so excited. I'm so proud of it. And so, of course, I want to grow that. That is like that's one of my big, for the next 5 years, is really to grow that, to have a much bigger impact in the world. And so, so that's one of my things. I've also got a couple of little, like, secret projects in the background that I'm going to roll out in 2022, because I'm always looking for other ways that I can reach and impact more people, and really spread the, like, what I call, what I referred to as the wellness revolution. And I think, because, right, of course, not everybody is in a position where they're going to be able to, join one of my programs, like high level programs, or, like, private mentorship. But that doesn't mean that I want to find other ways to help more people who just aren't at the stage at the moment of needing, like, higher level business mentorship. So, so that's what I'm working on, just to really amplify the impact and to just touch more lives. So that's my big goal.
Oh, I can't wait to hear all about that. When the time comes.
Yes.
Let's move on to your photography. So your business, I mean, we all know that images really do make an impact, and they help us grow a business. And I know we've been able to create some amazing photos for your personal branding, and really help you take your image and just the vibe. I think you had said at one point you felt that your brand had a more amateur vibe when you first, before we started working together. And I mean, today I look at you and I'm just like, wow, you're up there. Like, you're like the go-to person in your industry. You've really created this amazing brand. So tell us a little bit about, how you felt about our working, how we work together, and, how your images have helped your business.
Yes. Yeah, this is a great question. So, yeah, I mean, the images have made a huge difference in a lot of ways. Like it's not a it's a real thing and on a multiple levels when you are, when you get professional gorgeous photographs of the kind that you create, Linda, like, because you are the best. And so, yes. But yes, you're right. Like before, so, when I think you mentioned 2019 was the first time that I had, hired you to do some photographs for me, but I had been in business for a while before then.
Yeah.
But it, I knew that again, I had this vision for what I wanted things to be. And then I took a really honest look at what I was putting out there. And I was like, this does not reflect what I want this to
Mhm.
be. In a couple of ways. One was like you said, the amateur kind of thing that I felt like it just didn't have that really professional, high level vibe that I wanted to go for. But also, I was not being as visible. Like I was not showing up. I was kind of hiding behind, and it's so easy to do, especially if you're building an online business. Right? It's really easy just to hide behind, you can get stock images and you can get other graphics and you can sort of have the website without you really being a very prominent presence. And this is what I help all my clients to do too, because visibility is a tough thing. But I knew it's because I didn't really have any imagery that I was super proud of. So, you can take selfies and you can kind of get your cousin to take some decent photos of you, I suppose, if they're like an amateur photographer, but it's not it's you're gonna it's gonna hold you back, right? And that's what I felt. I was like, that is holding me back from really showing up in the marketplace the way that I want to, because I want to be really proud of the images that I present of
Mhm.
myself. And so that's when I first contacted you. And then, of course, it's not just a one and done kind of thing, because it evolves, and my vision has evolved, and the way that I want to, like, the kind of brand and things that I want to have really needed another iteration of expression, and I needed the professional to help me with that.
Mhm.
And so, not only am I crazy proud of the way that everything comes across visually, it's also more like I'm more visible. I feel like I'm a more visible face of the brand now, which is what I want, because that's what you need really to connect with people, because people buy from people, right? People buy, they want to work with a real person, not like a stock image or like, no images, or like nice sunset images, or, that you can always find like pretty images of not you to put on your website, but you really need that visibility piece or you're going to have a hard time connecting with people. So that's one of the those are the big differences that I've noticed.
Yeah, and I've noticed, yeah, you really just show up like when you go to your website or your Instagram. I mean, that is you, and that is what people are connecting with. And I see that as being a huge part of your business, and people recognizing that, like she knows what she's talking about, and like attracting those the people that are, good for you and your business, and that you're good for them, so that's
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm excited for you. I think that everything you're doing is amazing, and I hope that we'll work together in the future. I mean, that's part of the whole personal branding thing, like, because we're always evolving and changing and growing, and we're going to have different themes that we want to present ourselves in our photos, and just in our business as it changes and grows, so do we.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, we want to just keep showing up, basically, like you would change your outfit every day and go out and meet clients, like the same thing in your photos. So
Yeah.
so what would be a tip you would give people about, like, maybe what kind of tips do you give some of your clients regarding like personal branding photos, or getting photos for their growing businesses?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people feel squeamish about having photographs taken of themselves, and they are hesitant, or there's so many different stories. We all have different like funny stories, not funny, but like, odd things, just not logical and not helpful stories about why we wouldn't want to get photographs and really up level the visibility of our brand like that. And so really you got to look at why that's doing, like, what are you afraid of? What is the fear that's underneath that? What are the thoughts that you're telling yourself? Many people we are our worst critics, right? We're so self-critical about our physical appearance, especially, and everything else, right? But none of that matters. The people you have to really think of the people who are out there who you can help right now. They don't care about your like hair or that you still want to lose 10 pounds and before you're at your ideal weight, like they don't care about that. They need your help now. And part of you getting out there and getting in front of them is going to be having a really professional brand that you can show up with. And so it's really kind of a matter of looking at your stories, getting over yourself because of, really what the bigger purpose is and what your mission is.
Connecting with your why and just get yourself a little bit, and the self-acceptance piece, which I'm all about, and just focusing on that and knowing that you're gonna, like, just when you go out and meet people, I mean, you just go out, you put some makeup on and you get out the door. It's the same thing here. It's like just putting yourself out there. Exactly. And I know we all have our little idiosyncrasies or struggles, but that's a really good how should I say, like, just keeping the eye on the prize.
Yeah, exactly.
Focus of your business, and know that, the photos are going to really help you connect with the people that you're going to want to work with and that want to work with you. And really exactly.
It's not really about you. People feel like it makes it all about me. It's not. It's really about who you can help, but you have to show up in order to help them. If you're invisible, if they can't see you, can't find you, you can't help them, right?
So they're not going to know about you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I was going to ask you what's next for you, but I know you've got some things coming down the pike in 2022. And I think everyone should just look out for you. So the website is drkimfoster.com.
That's right. Yeah.
And on Instagram is at Dr. Kim Foster.
Right.
And please follow Dr. Kim, and, email you if you have any questions.
Yeah, connect with me, send me a message on a direct message on Instagram. That's an awesome way to get in touch with me. So I'd love to hear from anybody who is, just who their ears perked up at what we were talking about. I'd love to talk to you. So yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much again. And I'm sure we'll be in combo.
Absolutely.
All the best with the Academy and all the stuff that you've got coming up, and I'll be watching.
Thank you so much, Linda. This was such a pleasure.
Thank you again.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode of The Eloquent Entrepreneur, Conversations with Everyday Changemakers, and that you're feeling supercharged and inspired to make your positive impact in the world. Because one thing I know for sure is that together we can create a lasting legacy and ignite others to do the same. To learn more about The Eloquent Entrepreneur and more, visit my website at lindamackey.ca. Bye for now.